The New York Rangers beat the Dallas Stars in overtime by a score of 2-1, and this was really one of the most exciting finishes to a game this season. Keandre Miller scores the tying goal in the third period with less than a second left. So at 19:59, Miller ties it up, and then Adam Fox, with a great goal, wins it in overtime. And these are the two players that I was talking about last game. And when it comes to Adam Fox, he has to be in that Norris conversation. He won the Norris Trophy 2 seasons ago, and I know Erik Karlsson statistically is having an unbelievable season, really is, but I have to imagine when you combine the points and you combine just the overall play, Adam Fox has to be in that talk. And he has just been the most consistent player this season. If there were to be an MVP of the first half, it's Fox. And then Keandre Miller is just ascending at such a high level. Got off to a rough start this season, but is really just getting better and better. And his potential is scary. And we're starting to see, at the end of the game trailing, they go with Miller and Fox. In the past, they might have gone Lindgren and Fox. And, it's nothing against Lindgren, but Lindgren is not the most offensive type. And Keandre Miller, you're starting to see that. I mean, he has a lot of, Keandre Miller, for someone who doesn't get power play time, he has 23 points. That's a lot. And so I want to see his role grow even further. So this is good to see. It's crazy to me, again, how he doesn't get power play time. But I've said that a bunch. But just an amazing goal. And, the crowd went crazy. And it was a 6-on-5, opportunity. And just so much had to happen. And there was a lot of the Rangers stuck with it, really, on that goal and the Fox goal. Great job by Mika Zibanejad on the Fox goal, where he makes a couple of really good defensive plays. Puck possession is so key in overtime, and Zibanejad a few times kept the play alive. And then Fox was just an unbelievable, backhand goal, with elevation. He roofed it. And that's just not a play that even the best players don't do that. Most players would have just shot it. He kind of waited. But that's what makes Adam Fox so special, is just the intelligence, and he just sees the game so well. He's not physically, he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest. You look at him, it's like this should not be. He's one of the best players in the league, and the Rangers are very lucky to have Adam Fox. He grew up a Ranger fan. You have to feel, very lucky that he's on this team. And Keandre Miller, very easy guy to root for, a very humble guy. And so young still. I mean, both of them. Adam Fox is 24 right now. He's going to turn 25 soon. So, I mean, super young. And then Keandre Miller's 22. Going to turn 23 in a week. But, it's just crazy. The potential of these players, these are cornerstone players that the Rangers have. And if they can get that forward development, the forwards, you're really talking about something. Now, with that comes with Keandre Miller's going to, his next contract's going to be a pretty big one. So it all, you have to take that into account, but still, enjoy it now. I mean, Miller, unbelievable. And just that play, good little job by Trocheck, who we'll talk about him a little bit in this episode. And I don't mean to be too negative on Trocheck. It's more positive about Filipino. But in this play, Trocheck does a nice job kind of getting out of the way. Miller he takes one shot, it's blocked, and he gets his own rebound. And he gets it by Jake Ottinger, who played a really good game. Ottinger versus Sturkin is a really good goaltender battle. Ottinger's been awesome this season. Really one of the best young goalies in the league. And, I definitely think that Ottinger is going to be a name that is very recognizable, if he isn't already, soon. And the Dallas Stars, this is a much different game than the first time the Rangers played in Dallas. That was a very high-scoring game, kind of a sloppy game by both teams. This was different. This had playoff feel, good defense, hard to get opportunities. And Dallas I'm pretty impressed by them. Even though the Rangers did beat them twice in a weak Western Conference, you see what Dallas has. And that's a team that could definitely make a run in the West. Definitely. They got some good star players at all positions. And, Peter DeBoer, who's had some success, especially early on. It seems, you see that a lot with coaches, Glenn as well, where new coaches to a team seems to really, make its mark. And I can see that happening with Dallas. But in this game, let's talk about who was in, who was out. So we spoke about last game how Kreider got hurt and Gauthier, and Kreider was out for this game as we suspected. Gallant is saying that it's short term. I see stunned if Kreider doesn't play the next couple of games when the Rangers are home against Montreal and at Columbus, just because why rush it? And you're giving players like Lafreniere, who wasn't he was okay, wasn't great, wasn't horrible. He was all right, Lafreniere tonight, who kind of took Kreider's role. And so Kreider, there's no need to rush it. But the good thing is, it doesn't seem as if it was anything. Like, that could have been a long-term injury potential. It looks like that was avoided. So Kreider hopefully back soon, but there's no again, especially with those games coming up, I am gonna just guess that he won't play those games, but you never know. Kreider, I'm sure he'll want to be in there. And then Gauthier actually was in the lineup tonight, and unfortunately for him, got hurt again on a sort of a weird situation where it was face to face with Sammy Blais. They were both going at a pretty high speed, and they didn't see each other. And it's easy for me to put the blame on Blais for that. I'm kind of going to do it, even though I admit that it's not fair. Because Sammy Blais, like we've seen in his 2 years with the Rangers, like he's weirdly got into collisions with his own players. Like I forgot about it, but then it made me think like last year, I'm almost certain that happened a few times. So, and it's more so just like Sammy Blais has like been completely useless, and now he's hurting our own players again. I take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, it wasn't intentional. Maybe it was even on Gauthier, like it's just a weird play. But you feel bad. Gauthier, who had left the game early last game, was good to go and then gets hurt again. So with that, also the Rangers claimed Jake Leschyshyn, who is the son of Curtis Leschyshyn, and he was on Vegas. Jake really wasn't very good. But I am curious to see how he looks. Like, he can't be a whole lot worse than Sammy Blais, but now with the Kreider injury and Gauthier potentially out, Leschyshyn might be in, but not at the expense of Blais. But don't be surprised if Leschyshyn is in these next few games. Again, I'm not expecting much. He is a center, fourth line type of guy. Again, really in like 20 plus games, I put up like no points. It was a -7. Was a Vegas draft pick, I think a late second round pick in 2017. Maybe there's some upside. He's young. He's under team control for a while, but we'll see what happens there. But Leschyshyn might make his Ranger debut maybe Sunday or Monday, possibly. But this was Shesterkin versus Ottinger, like I said. And again, for me, I'm just going to jump right into it, even though it doesn't necessarily fall in line with the order of it. The power play continues to struggle. They got to make some changes there. It went 0 for 4 tonight. I know Kreider was out and Lafreniere took his spot. But the power play has just been predictable, kind of stale. You got to switch it up somehow. And there's some solutions, but they always play that first unit to start the power play, always, and they they play basically like 3/4 of the power play. So I'm not sure the exact answer. Like, let's assume Kreider's in there. Like, I don't think Trocheck, I don't think it's necessary for Trocheck to be in that first unit. And the same thing with him being on the second line with Panarin. The chemistry's not great. And for me, I would go back to, they only did it for a little bit, but Hedl with Panarin, I think is the way to go. I hope they try that again. And Trocheck was good with Kreider and Vesey. It was more of a north-south type of line. Try that. Try Trocheck with Vesey. And I suppose Goodrow, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit, or something, or even Kravtsov. I just feel like, whatever it might be, it should be Hedl with Panarin. Get Hedl on that second line, get Trocheck on the third line, and then even on the power play too. At least one of them. All right? Like, at least one of them have Hedl take Trocheck's spot. And on the power play, I'm fine with Kakko as well. If that's what you want to do, that's fine also. So, power play, the struggles really continue. And I feel like it's worse than the stats indicate. We're probably in the middle of the pack. It feels a lot worse than that, though, and it should be a lot better. So, first period, pretty low event first period. Shots were 8-6 Rangers. You had that injury, you had the collision between Blais and Gauthier, but not a whole lot happened. Second period is when the Stars start taking a lot of penalties. Fox trips Panarin at 5:34. Rangers don't score. Delay a game on Mason Marshall at 8:44. Rangers don't score. 12:23, Ryan Suter, a roughing penalty on Alexis Lafreniere. Rangers don't score. The one penalty the Rangers do take ends up in the back of their net. Ryan Lindgren is called for roughing on Tyler Seguin. And it was a really, I think most of the blame is going to go to Barkley Goodrow, where Goodrow kind of, he makes it seem like he's going to leave the ice. And that's on a penalty kill, you got to be sure. Because if you fuck that up, all of a sudden it's kind of essentially a 5-on-3. Goodrow kind of has, Zibanejad's about to come on, but they don't want to have that potential too many men on the ice. So Goodrow stays on and is kind of completely useless. And Zibanejad is late to get on, and so it leaves Tyler Seguin wide open on kind of a broken sort of play. It was a failed shot attempt that goes to Seguin wide open, and he scores the power play goal. It's Seguin's 10th goal of the season from Marchman and Gurianov at 17:53. That's a bad job by Goodrow, and what bothers me there is, like, Goodrow, he's made mistakes, and Gallant will continue to use him a lot, and I just don't think that's fair. If someone else did that, a younger player did that, they might, have to face the repercussions of their ice time getting cut. Goodrow, he should be susceptible, but he's one of Gallant's favorites. Goodrow's a favorite. Trocheck's a favorite. Like, you kind of, and then some of the other ones, I'm not even sure if they're favorites, but it's just like, he won't go against the Panarin, he won't go against the Trouba, but Gallant, when it comes to the younger guys, if they make mistakes, like, they might be in trouble. But I just want to mention that Goodrow, he's made some pretty bonehead mistakes lately. For someone who has he's known as, like, being like a sound player, and a lot of times he is. Don't get me wrong. Goodrow is someone you would ideally want out there, but he's a little bit overrated, in my opinion, as far as that goes. I know he kills penalties. Like, he is the type of player that the Rangers don't have, but what the contract is, it's a bit much. But again, I'm not a Goodrow hater by any means, but I just think that needed to be said, that he needs to clean up on the mistakes, and that was a costly one, and it ends up in the back of the Rangers' net. 1-0 Stars. Dallas takes the 1-0 lead going to the third. They were 16-0 when with leading going to the third, and that streak is broken. They have now lost, and the Rangers did it. The Rangers did get one more power play. It was a delay game penalty on Jake Oettinger. It was interesting. He took off his helmet. The strap kind of broke, and a lot of the times the refs kind of let that happen, but they did call delay game, but the Rangers don't take advantage of it. And in fact, it was almost a 5-on-3. Jamie Benn might have had a delay game penalty. They said that it was deflected out and that it didn't go straight into the crowd. But either way, Rangers 6-on-5, and Keandre Miller was one of them, which I'm trying to think, that might have happened anyway. So if Kreider was in there, he would have been in there. I'm thinking that Kakko was, so it was, Panarin, Zibanejad, Trocheck, and Fox, of course. And then the other two were Kakko and Miller. So I'm not, if Kreider was in there, it's possible he would have taken the spot of Kakko or Miller. I think it would have been Kakko. I actually think that Miller would have been on there either way. But again, it was just a lot of hard work to keep it alive. And that you don't see, the Rangers don't really score that much when the goalie is pulled. Of course, over the course of time it happens. But I have to think, even in this Gallant era, which is not very long, the Rangers don't really have many moments like that tying it up. And they do it here with less than a second to go. Keandre Miller sticks with it. It's his fifth goal of the season, and assists go to Trocheck and Fox. So at 19:59, just unbelievable. The Rangers tied up. And again, it was crazy how Miller, the shot was blocked, and he just took one more shot, and it goes by Oettinger. Oettinger finally gets beaten. And then overtime, because all of those players were on for so long, they actually started with Hedel, Lafreniere, and Schneider. And Hedel won the faceoff. So I was pleasantly surprised by that. And because of that good puck possession, they kind of kept it for them. Dallas kind of had it briefly. But like I said, really good defensive work by Zibanejad and Panarin, who, look, Panarin, he bothers me. But I will say this, in overtime and shootout, Panarin is a threat. When you get to the overtime and you get to the shootout, having Panarin on your side is very much good. But he really does bother me in regulation play. I don't like how he's been playing. A lot of turnovers. It's been bad, but, they'll have to, again, that's a conversation for another day. But Panarin drives to the net. Oettinger makes a save. Zibanejad sticks with it. And then Panarin finds Fox. Like I said, unbelievable patience. I think he waited out Heiskanen, I think. And he fooled Oettinger. And Adam Fox is the hero. And Keandre Miller. They're both the heroes. And so it's Fox's 9th goal of the year from Panarin and Zibanejad, and the Rangers win it 2-1. Just one of the games I think we'll look back at this season as, wow, what a win, a fun one. I'm sure it would have been fun to be there. And so now the Rangers improved their record to 24-12-7. It's getting better and better. Really is. And now, like I said, the Rangers, they'll stay home, take on the Montreal Canadiens, and then they will go to Columbus and take on the Blue Jackets. So we'll see. Winnable games. I'm sure Halak will get one of them. It'd be tough to guess which one it would be. I'm honestly not too sure, but I'm sure. But maybe the Montreal one. Maybe Montreal. I wouldn't be shocked by that, considering it's his former team, and he did play pretty well against them recently. So again, Rangers with a stunning, dramatic 2-1 overtime win against the Dallas Stars at Madison Square Garden.